we're good. You can slide over a little bit. Hello, everybody. This is Alex with another Disabled Vet's Perspective, and this is episode 5 Affairs. And look, I have Miss Belinda to you live and in your face and all that. Waiting for people to jump up in the chat for a second. Make sure the audio is good. Make sure the video is good. Make sure my hair is good. It's a constant struggle to look this damn good. But
I can't see the things.
Oh, you can't see that? Hello, Donna. Welcome. Hello. That's DM Donna. She's got a bar right in her line of sight with the chat, so I did that to be able to communicate with my chat without having to worry about her eavesdropping. Not really, but on tonight's episode, we actually have a few subjects to cover, but the primary is going to be the new Mission Act compared to the Veterans Choice Act. Hey, CLC, you didn't get stuck in traffic. That was so funny last week. I'm glad you made it. It was funny.
Okay.
When she CLC, I got to tell her, but she wrote on her comments that she was stuck in traffic, and she was so concerned because she knew I was going to be going live.
Aww.
And didn't know if she was going to make it. The only thing I could think about was back in the 80s when people had to get home to their stories.
Yes.
You got to get home to your stories. So that's what came up when you wrote that, CLC, and I love you for it. It made my day. Hello, hey, let's see, DJ Mike TV, how you doing? Good to see you. That's an unfamiliar little mark there. I'm not sure who that is. Welcome. Anywho, I want to go ahead and get started a little bit. You actually should get started because you just read that thing about the union.
The first time that Alex ever honored me with being on his show, I talked about the Federal Employees Union. And they were saying that veterans care could come into play. Let me read it to you.
That's a good idea.
I wasn't prepared. I thought you were going to do that.
I know.
I was still thinking. I was still trying to think. Yeah. Oh.
Well, while she's looking for that,
yeah.
Last week we went over the PTSD, and I had a pretty good turnout for that. It's a difficult subject, and I'm glad we were able to go over it. I'm hoping that helped a lot. You ready?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, and like I said in the beginning, we talked about the federal union. Oh, down here. Okay, sorry. Yep. The federal union and how it wants to abolish the Mission Act, which the Mission Act benefits the veterans. It obviously, from what I'm reading, doesn't seem to benefit the employees of the VA, because I think what's going to happen is we'll have smaller primary care facilities, and what will be employed in those facilities are quality people. So they had on June 5th, which was a work day for normal Americans, they had a rally in 68 different places trying to get Wilkie, who is the head of the VA, to undo the I can't find out what it's called here, but they want Wilkie to say that they're not negotiating fairly in the labor area, and that all the employees still need to stay within the VA system. There's 260,000 people. And when I go to my VA, it appears, in the front counters that you can see, it appears that 10 are working, but there seems to be 40 people.
One second. Somebody just give me a heads up, Donna, if you don't mind. Tell me make sure the audio is good. I want to make sure we're coming across clearly, because I'm thinking that I might not have my right set of speakers on. What I need to know is if that made a difference. Audio is good. Picture's a little blurry. Yeah, even with the highest grade of internet that I can get out here in the sticks, it's still blurry. That's ridiculous. So all clear. Good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't have this speaker on, so we're sitting here yelling at the computer apparently. So now we're using this one, this mic.
It's got a red light on now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
But anyway, the AFGE, which is the union, is fighting against the director of the VA, Wilkie, trying to keep every employee they can employed. I am not for people losing their jobs, but I am also not for people being protected that can't do their job. Right. And there's so much bloat and there's so much waste inside the VA that I do think that there needs to be an overhaul. But they block President Trump at every corner. They're trying to say that it's unconstitutional, that he doesn't.
Unions are not constitutional. That's, I don't know where that
he wants
comes
to
from.
reduce the arm of this union,
right?
Because this union seems to be telling the president of America what needs to be done instead of the other way around.
Hey, Pete, how you doing? Appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's
and what they're saying is 128 lawmakers warn the VA its anti-labor actions will hurt veterans.
Yeah, well, here's a little tidbit. I just went to my VA for my last meeting with my psychiatric advisor. So that's a big deal for me. And when I got there, I realized that they still have the same number of people, but there's even less human interaction. They have kiosks all over throughout the VA. And normally when you get done with your visits, you have to, well, for one, when you come in to check in, you've got the same number of people sitting at the desks ready to check you in. And when you walk up to them, they point over, oh, you got to go check in at the kiosk. So that's your human interaction now. You get done with your appointment, you got to go take care of your travel or reschedule. And again, you get pointed at the kiosk. So go over there and fill it out in the kiosk. So we're not losing employees. We're losing our interaction.
The human interaction.
Yeah, there's still just as many people there, but they're doing even less work because now they don't even have to talk to the veterans. They just point you at a kiosk. And then when you get there, if you've never messed with a kiosk, you're not going to have somebody jumping up from their cushy little desk to run around there and show you how to do it. They're going to, hope that one of the volunteers or another veteran that's in the building will help you get your way navigated around this kiosk. So
yeah, at my VA, we have a lot of volunteers, and they're the ones that, and I'm talking the primary care facility, not the hospital, and they're the ones that help. When you have a question, you can go up to a desk and they just don't have the answers. They're always on their phone. And to me, that is just so much bloat. It's so unnecessary. And if it was fine-tuned, I think there'd be a lot less disgruntled veterans.
Right. I am gruntled most of the time, but I usually get fairly disgruntled when I get into the VA. Little heads up to my patriots out there. We've got pizza on the way, and I would share it if I could, but I don't want to get the screen dirty. But the dogs will address us when the pizza's here, so it might get loud for a second. I'll try to hit the mute when that happens, but we'll work our way through it. All right, I want to jump on to this subject of the new Mission Act. What I did was I went through and I tried to find comparisons between the Mission Act and the Veterans Choice Act. Primarily, they're the same thing. So there's just not a lot of differences. You mentioned one difference.
The differences that I can find between the new Mission Act and the Veterans Choice Program, which they no longer use, that ended June 19th, I think, is the wait time with the referrals. When I had a surgery, it took me several months through the Veterans Choice Program to get where I needed to go. It was authorized. There was no problem. The system was just bogged down. With the Mission Act, it seems that things are going to be handled right at your primary care, or if you see a surgeon or some specialty clinic, things are going to be handled right there. They've opened up all the urgent care, or not all the urgent cares, but they've made it easier for you to go to urgent care. They've made it easier for you to get a 14-day prescription filled without a cost of coming out of your pocket.
I'm sorry.
What?
CLC says, Vet, you would probably get a strike from YouTube for sharing your pizza. I believe that. Here, have a piece.
It's like you can't feed the homeless.
Yeah,
You get arrested for feeding the homeless.
Arrested.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're going over the Mission Act. Hey, History Beach, good to see you. Anyway, so the wait time is the primary difference. I went through when this was being discussed. The critters are moving. On July 6, 2018, the issue was brought up because of a Facebook post, and everything is designed for shock factor. When it comes to people posting headlines and things like that, they want it to be as alarming as possible. So somebody posted, and it went viral, that the President Donald Trump signed an order allowing veterans to get full medical bills paid at hospitals outside the VA. And it's not true. The point is, when they put a headline like that up there, and then they have somebody come by and debunk that headline, then they can go, see, well, President Trump's screwing the veterans again because he's not paying their medical bills. So, little tactics that are used.
You have to be authorized. If you just go out in town and have brain surgery, you send the bills to the VA and nobody knew about it, you're going to pay your bill.
My brain surgery bills will be really cheap.
I know, their lack of brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cuts down on expenses.
Yeah.
All right, now the 5 things to know about the Mission Act.
Mm-hmm. This is the Veterans Choice. This is the old program.
Well, here are 5 things you need to know about the Mission Act.
Well, I didn't read that
I know
part.
you didn't.
I read
you
this
didn't
part.
read directions.
I know.
But
My
anyway,
bad.
the point is they look so identical, and they compare each other to those things.
I'm sorry.
No, you're doing just fine. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're never wrong.
I was wrong once, and it was a Tuesday. I remember. It was that one time that I really knew I was wrong, but I was really right.
I saw the smoke signals came up,
But that was a disaster. But anyway, it turned out I was right, so everything worked out. All right, the bill would overhaul and expand the Veterans Choice Program, allowing veterans greater access to health care outside the VA. It would do away with arbitrary criteria to qualify for outside care and put into place clear guidelines for accessing community care. It also streamlined community care programs to cut down on the confusion and waste. Cut down on that. So what they've done is they've gone to the kiosk. So they still have the same amount of mess and waste, but they're spreading it out now. All right, the bill would provide funding for choice programs in turn so that the veterans using it don't see a disruption in the medical care. Current funding is expected to run out by the end of May.
Okay.
So I mentioned last week, I think I was bringing up about the $200 billion financial request for veterans issues or veterans spending for next year. Every year it goes up exponentially, but it doesn't seem to change anything.
Number 3 is very interesting.
Well, yeah. Let it go.
Number 3, this legislation would also allow for Congress and the VA to review the department's physical assets to ensure resources aren't wasted or unused or underutilized or have underutilized facilities. And I think that's a great thing. You see, at least in my town, you'll see buildings that are part of the VA and they're empty. There's nobody in them.
That's actually an epidemic within our government. They keep buildings that they don't use, and they continue to pay rent on them. They do upkeep, and they call it a contingency in case they have to expand into those buildings. But yeah, there's billions and billions of dollars a year thrown away on buildings that they don't use.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
And why are they buying and not renting?
Well, they're not supposed to be able to buy. Most people don't realize the government is not supposed to be able to own property. That's why they generally lease. But
I did know that.
yeah, it's
Because there's a big controversy on ours about the land that the VA is on, the primary care facility. There's a huge controversy. I'm not.
What they do, lease the property?
I think
that's-
so from a congresswoman.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, well, you got to be careful about property lease too, because they'll lease you the property, and then you put a beautiful big building on there, and they realize how much rent they're losing out on, so they want to try to encourage you to leave that property. That way, they can start renting the whole building.
I don't
and
know
the property
anything. I have no idea
it's
how it
little
works.
secrets.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. The Mission Act has the support of nearly 40 veteran services organizations. That's a plus. The bill has bipartisan support, winning committee approval by a 20-2 vote. Who are the two? One of the two dissenters was Minnesota Rep. Tim Welts, who was constantly stood in the way of reform of the VA. Well, then you know what? Minnesota, y'all need to get them the hell out, because we can't get anything done if all of these idiots and activists are doing nothing but standing in the way every time there's an attempt to make a change. So, yeah, you got to get them out. Let's see. Next one. This is, I try to open up a bunch of articles at a time and then watch my computer go, no! Here we go. But two computers running simultaneously, they want to fight each other. The new urgent care benefit and how it will provide more choices for veterans. This was I found interesting. You actually went over this with me yesterday about the urgent care. I didn't realize that it was usable, but why don't you go ahead and tell them what you talk about. Hey, Tony, good to see you.
With urgent care, like I was saying earlier, and that's part of the reason the union is so upset, because now veterans can go other places. If you have strep throat, you can go to urgent care. They'll list the ones that are accepting VA. You show your VA card. From the way I understand it now it could change, and I have no control over that. Show your VA card. They'll treat you. You are not billed. If you do get a bill, then you just hold on to it and let the cycle go through the VA, and then you'll get the notice that it was paid. But you can go there at no cost to you, and you can get up to a 14-day prescription at the pharmacies that the VA has contracted with. If it's a 30-day prescription, then you need to take it to VA.
Finish. I was just going to add that on that 14-day prescription, I did look up prescriptions specifically that you are responsible for payment of the 14-day prescription, but then you have to apply for reimbursement.
Is that okay?
The other thing is on the going to urgent care, there is a copay program, and some veterans will have copays. Other veterans will not have copays, and apparently there are number categories. You are in priority groups, and for example, priority group 1.1 through 5, there is no copay for the first 3 visits during a calendar year. For the 4th visit and all subsequent visits in the calendar year, the copay is $30. So you can get 3 official visits with your urgent care if needed without out of pocket. The 4th and everyone after then becomes $30. Priority group 6 is basically the same. There's no copayment for the first 3 visits during a calendar year if the visit is related to special authority or exposure. And I'm not even sure what
I
that
have no
language
idea.
means. For the 4th and all subsequent visits, it's $30. Priority groups 7 through 8, the copayment is $30 per visit. And like I say, these groups, I've been trying to find, how do you know what your group is, your priority group? And I'm not there yet. I'm still looking for it. So group 1 through 8, no copayment for flu shot only visits, or as I like to call it, my suicide shot. I am deadly allergic to the flu shot, which is handy for my wife, because I always tell her if she gets tired of me and I have to go to the hospital, just make sure she yells out, "Don't forget to give him his flu shot." Because, boy, that insurance would be nice.
It does say for urgent prescription medication for a 14-day or fewer supply, veterans can either fill the prescription at a contracted pharmacy in the VA network, or you can pay for it outside using a non-contracted pharmacy.
Yep. The one thing about these prescriptions is, for example, at the VA over here where I am, they don't like you to use the pharmacy at the VA. They want the medications ordered through Tennessee, so everything is done by mail. Um, getting the prescription to you, you have to do it through mail order. So you've got to take care of your first 14 days to try to get you through that point where your prescription can make it back to you. But yeah, please get your pizza.
No, I'm trying to read. Just can't see it.
Well, you can sit up and look over. You can get up and walk out. I don't know. Yeah, I've got my microphone bar kind of held to the table there, and it sits right in front of the feed, so she has.
So if you're
leave the room.
100%, you don't have to pay anything to go to urgent care.
First 3 visits.
Has no group, it's all paid for. John Hutchinson.
Do I need to move it back up?
No. I was just asking a question.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter what your rating is on the urgent care, you still have the copay if you go over 3 visits. That I just found out today. Increasing access. Let's see. All Indian Health Services Tribal Health Programs. That's not what I was looking for. There was something down here I thought I found. Oh, yeah, okay. This one was breaking down how the copays work and making appointments with non-VA providers. The reality is you can't make appointments with non-VA providers. You have to make an appointment with the VA and then be referred. I'm not even
And
sure
I hope
just said that.
all veterans have signed up for My Healthy Vet.
Yeah.
It's a great resource. Some of us get anxious even trying to call the VA on the phone to get a prescription refilled or to make a doctor's appointment. And with My Healthy Vet, they have a text messaging system. I've been using it now for years. It works great. I get an answer usually the same day, and it really alleviates that whole time disconnection. The information goes into the VA but never comes back out. So
Yeah,
you never get the appointment, or they say we've tried to call you 3 times. And
or like Randy said yesterday, you got the appointment and the cancellation letter in the same envelope.
That's
truly impressive.
Yeah, appointment and cancellation in the same envelope.
Let's see on here, appointments and getting care. It says veterans eligible for community care generally have the option of choosing to receive care from the VA medical facility or community provider. For veterans who choose to receive community care, A VA staff member will discuss with them their preferences for getting care from a community provider, except in cases where they send you to the kiosk.
Well, I think the kiosk is just for checking in.
Yeah,
It's
and getting your travel and
when I go to the kiosk, it tells me three things. It tells me that I have an appointment that day, that there's also a button for upcoming appointments at our kiosk. I don't know about yours.
I think they're all the same.
Upcoming appointments, and I've never seen the travel button, but I've never looked for the travel button.
Yeah, that's my first time using the travel button was this last time, and it's just one of the options on the front screen that you can go to. Let's see, veterans can either choose their preferred community provider, or a VA staff member can help select one. The select community provider must be part of the VA's network. I'm waiting for them to come out with a list of providers. The VA facility locator can be used to find community providers.
Oh.
VA facility locator. Okay. So why is it stop moving? What do I have here? Yeah.
It's the website for My Healthy Vet is myhealthyvet, all one word, do we use a .com?
Well, I don't know. You want me to look
Here,
it up real quick?
I'll look it up. I got it.
Oh, DM, she put it up there? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. She's on top of things. She is the fastest mod on the net. Anyway, it shows here on the VA locator. You can't tell tonight is a casual night because we're just kind of a little bit. Let's see. This page that I am on is VA, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. So it's
VA.gov.
Yeah, it's got to be the VA.gov. An official website of the United States government. Yeah, VA.gov. There it is. And those little bitty letters.
That's why I have on glasses. I do.
Yeah, it's VA.gov. So you want to go into that and look at your VA locator. That's the VA facility locator. That way you know where your outside providers are. With our emergency room up here, I've had to go in there and I submitted my paperwork for the VA and then got my letter from the VA stating that I'm not responsible for this bill, and then a few days later get the bill from the hospital saying that I owe them for this bill. So there's some communication issues that need to be figured out. Let's see. Once authorized to receive community care, they have several options for scheduling an appointment with a community provider depending on the type of care they need. A VA may be able to directly schedule an appointment and inform a VA staff member about the appointment. The VA online scheduling to request an appointment for certain types of routine services. Have a VA staff member schedule the appointment. Have VA third-party administrator, TPA, schedule the appointment. So
I don't know who these staff members are going to be.
I don't know either.
I don't know if they're going to have you need to go out in town and it'll be a referral number. You'll have to call another number, or if it'll be somebody at your primary care. I don't know.
Again,
my doctor does all mine for me. He just makes it so.
It's a computer zombie. They just stare at their computer screen and type things out, and then all of a sudden you're done. You want to hit some of that prescription medication, billing and payments.
It says also on here for billing and payments, veterans may have to pay a co-payment for non-service connected care, just as a veteran would if care was received at a VA medical facility. For urgent care, co-payments again depend on your priority group. I just don't know where to find or I haven't seen yet where to find
Where
the
to find your number.
the definitions of the priority groups.
Yeah. I just got another mystery note slid in from underneath the screen, and it says, be sure to sign up for a Prime account under My Healthy Vet. There are things that you cannot do without being a Prime member.
It's so simple. I forgot to say that. I don't, it just says sign up for Prime account, click. It's nothing special you have to do. It's just click of a button.
Okay, billing and payments. I hate talking about money. You can have that one.
Okay. The VA may, they're not going to ask you anymore if you'd like your insurance company billed. They're just going to directly bill your insurance company if you have private insurance. Let's see what it says here under financial hardship. And I don't know what it's going to say.
You got it. It just takes a minute.
Okay.
It's a dinosaur. Oh, mystery note. Your priority group is assigned to you based on when you served, wars fought, etc. Okay, Mr. Know-It-All. Where the hell do you find that information?
I was given a book that was pre-printed for me from
Okay.
the VA.
Okay.
Remember when I got the fancy book? It tells you what the priority group is.
Okay.
I don't know where you would go find it
So
on your own.
the bottom line is you have to go to the VA to find it.
Yes,
Because-
that's how it's assigned, so you can at least know what to look for.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The mystery voice in the distance was Randy. It was like, hello? I hear him. Okay. So back to the
They also have a financial hardship.
financial hardship.
Yeah, you can program.
Yeah.
Where, if you've had the loss of a job, a sudden decrease in income, or an increase in out-of-pocket family health care expenses, contact the VA, and they will set up a repayment plan.
Put y'all in debt.
Yeah.
Or-
This page also provides information about debt collection, debt relief.
I got an idea. Squeeze a turnip and squeeze a stone. See
Yeah.
which one you get more out of.
Yeah, because I don't understand that, because a lot of people who get care for non-service connected things at the VA aren't charged anything, or at least I'm not.
I have not.
There's no
I'm
charge
totally
for.
covered, but
Well, you're 100, yeah.
Yeah. I
But
don't
I'm not,
know.
yeah.
I've heard other times where somebody has said that they had to pay for something, but I don't hear about it much. It
Yeah,
seems like they just do it.
Yeah, I haven't had to pay for any treatment that wasn't service connected.
Yeah,
I had a whole surgery out in town with no cost to me, and it was not service connected.
well, I'm an entire basket case, so I think my whole body is service connected. All right. Anyway, that's about pretty much where it is right now on this Mission Act. It's just, again, everything that we try to look for through the VA, we're going to get better at this as time goes by. We're going to get sources to get this information.
I don't have my computer. I left my computer
Yeah.
and everything.
Oh, that's all right. I've got a computer. I got two of them. You're looking at one and playing with another.
Yeah.
I'm computer poor. Anyway, I wanted to jump back onto a subject from last week. Because of last week, I didn't have time to finish up the articles, because I'm going to bring this up to you, Donna. Why do you suppose that on my live stream, at exactly 1 hour and 46 seconds, mine stops? I do not understand that. I don't see a setting to change it, but if I'm over 46 seconds over an hour, it just shuts off. It's really frustrating.
Thank you, Raymond. He said he was happy that they did the surgery for me. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a frontal lobotomy. Uh,
I'm glad you have a
That's
good
been
one, deplorable Bobby. And I
30
think
days.
every VA has its good points. It's just when you don't have time to learn every trick of the trade or uh, every avenue that's available to you, it should be easy. I should be able to call my doctor or text him, which is what I do. Send a text, get an appointment, be seen, and move on. I shouldn't have to constantly be thinking about the VA. How do I contact them? Oh, this doctor was inappropriate. This doctor doesn't know what I'm talking about. This doctor uh, doesn't know how to treat a condition. They send you to the specialist, but come to find out they don't know how to treat it, or they don't speak English. And that's really starting to bother me. The ones that English is a third or fourth language for them.
Yeah, thank you. Come again.
Yeah. That it's hard to convey what you need from them. They don't understand you.
You am good.
Yeah. Yeah. You go now.
Yeah, good, healthy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Deep. Thank you. I wanted to say this real quick about. I hope that's not backwards. Everything
It
is
isn't.
backwards on here, but this is available in Florida from your VA center. Um, Handy little book. It goes over the benefits that the veterans have. Ron DeSantis has a good cover message. The executive director's message is in here. Denny Burgess, executive director, Florida Department of Veterans Affairs. So it's just a handy little thing to have for resources. In the back, you've got all of your contact points. It explains some of the things that you get through the VA as being a veteran. A lot of programs in Florida. I think actually next week, I believe I'll do a full show on that. If you're in other states, I'm sure they have some things that differ from VA programs. Uh, I would be really curious if you guys had some kind of flyers from your states that you could get from your VA facility. I could put my address down in the description section, and if you could get a hold of a flyer of veterans benefits for your state, that would be a good thing because then I could go over them and maybe do a whole series on each state's benefits or something to that effect. Anyway, um, there was a issue that I did not necessarily feel comfortable talking about last week, only because I am not a woman. I know it's weird, right? But the the issue with PTSD that says affects women differently than it does men, and that's absolutely understandable. But
We're different.
yeah, uh, basically, if if you have some way of maybe construing to them that some of the things that women might deal with that men may not deal with, and things that they might be able to do to learn to, I would never say heal from it, but to be able to compensate for it.
To help. Yeah.
Well, why do women experience PTSD? Um,
Women in the this is from military.com. Women in the military are at higher risk of exposure to traumatic events, especially during times of war. Although men are more likely to experience combat, a growing number of women are now being exposed to combat. Women in the military are at higher risk of exposure to sexual harassment and sexual assault. Further studies are needed to better understand the effects of a woman's exposure to combat and sexual assault. I I don't know what studies need to be done, but um, do more women than men experience PTSD? Women are more more than twice as likely to develop PTSD than men. 10% of women and 4% of men. There's a few reasons why women are more susceptible. It's sexual assault. Sexual assault is more likely to cause PTSD. Women may be more likely to blame themselves for the trauma experience that men do. It's just as if a civilian woman was raped. The victim tends to blame themselves. Not all women who experience a traumatic event develop PTSD. Of course, not all men.
Either.
Yeah, it's not a stigma if you do, and it's not
a disease.
It's not. I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people have to understand that it's interpreted differently by everybody. It's a difficult thing.
If there are any women that want to talk about MST or PTSD, if Alex would put my email in there, I'd be happy to talk with any of y'all.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the key is people that are dealing with PTSD. You're gonna want to start at least getting your psychological workup so that you can start a program there. But
find somebody safe to talk to.
Right.
Sometimes it's not your spouse. Sometimes it's not a parent or a sibling. You need to find someone that you feel safe with talking to that person.
One of your peers, somebody who's been through the same thing, makes a big difference. Just like me, if you guys have my email address down below, that's something that's you can contact me. Because anyway, people that have dealt with it are going to be better at telling somebody else how to deal with it. But anyhow, I think we've gone over the Mission Act, and we've touched base on another subject in the VA. I mean, the PTSD issues. But you got anything else that you wanted to bring up? What about that newspaper that you brought with you? Just give her a second while she whips this out.
Yeah.
VA workers refuse to be muzzled.
It seems that whistleblowers at the VA are being chastised. They're being they're getting reassigned to lower positions with less pay, and they're blaming this on President Trump somehow. I don't know. Yes, President Trump is in charge of all these departments, and he is ultimately in charge of the VA. But if the president is lassoed and he can't make the moves he needs to make to clean out these bad people within the VA, then whistleblowers that are talking about ghost appointments, that are talking about VA, the one guy is a psychiatrist, and he told them about the 5-year backlog to get in to see a psychiatrist. If the union and other people I keep saying the same thing, all this bloat in there. This is why we need the Mission Act. We need a 5-year backlog is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Veterans are killing themselves. It's unacceptable. And this guy is trying to bring it to the attention of the VA, and now the union and the rulers or the leaders of local hospitals and jurisdictions are, they reassign this guy to a much lesser position. I'm sorry.
Cleaning up cigarette butts on the outside.
Yeah. And I don't know. The VA is too big. It's just the VA is too big, in my opinion. There's too many workers. Nothing. It's too hard to navigate. If you have civilian insurance, you know who to call, what to do. If you have a PPO, you know how it works. If you have an HMO, you know how it works. The VA is like a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You go in and you hear one veteran was able, with the same doctor, one veteran was able to have these services. Another veteran goes in that's, it's never apples for apples, but close enough, and they get no service. And
I've never gotten a Bob for apples when I went to the VA.
Well, you are not They're just not your friend,
See,
are they?
There's an example of a service that I didn't get, somebody else got.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that we are, well, we're 45 minutes in.
Yeah,
but, I think we're.
This is my
pretty
fault.
much
I
done.
wasn't prepared.
Oh no, this is what we have to deal with. Is sometimes it's harder to get information than others, and when you run out of information, there's no need to sit there and keep going. But what do you got?
Veterans deported by ICE.
There you go. That's the one you were talking about.
I am so torn on this. I don't know why we would have non-citizens in our military that protects our country. And since they were in, why are they being deported back to their home country?
Yeah.
I'm just torn on it. I don't know how to think about this subject. I think that if we do everyone in the military should be a U.S. citizen, is my belief on our military and the protection of my country.
Well, I understand that point of view too, because if you have loyalties elsewhere, then it's hard to say this is my country and I'm going to do what I have to do for it. But the program with non-citizens being in the military was started many years ago, and it was designed so that if somebody didn't have a merit-based system, they didn't have a financial-based system that would allow them to qualify under the immigration program, then they had the option of working in the military for a period of time, and then they would get moved through quickly for their citizenship. They get kind of bumped to the front of the line. They still have to learn the same things that the other people that are in the line have to learn, but they get moved through and they get settled in a little quicker. But again, with the crazy world we live in right now, I see your point with how do you know where the loyalties lie, and how do you know that it's not somebody that's been groomed to do this so that they can get into the military and they can do strange and unusual things from the inside. And if it's one person that gets caught doing bad things, then they lose one of their soldiers, so to speak, and they've still got many, many more, but they can.
Yeah,
keep
you
going.
would think the vetting process would be a little tighter. I mean,
Right.
that doesn't prevent a homegrown terrorist attack or, somebody, what's that dude's name that turned into a girl?
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? It doesn't stop things like that. But I do think just the basic should be U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you're going to
that's-
defend a country, you should be a citizen. of it.
United States of America citizen.
Maybe they, instead of doing it where you automatically go into the military, maybe it can be a deferment program. So if you agree to a term in the military service, then you go into a deferment program where once you finish your paperwork and you do what you have to do to get your citizenship, then you sign the dotted line and you do your military commitment. And if somebody's motivated enough to go through all that, fast tracking to do all that learning, and I mean, once you become a citizen, you got to know our history, and you got to know more to become a citizen than you do as a citizen.
It seems that way. Yeah.
Now don't know anything, but somebody who gets their citizenship can tell you what our amendments are, and what our Bill of Rights are, and they know about the Emancipation Proclamation and all the things that you would think our citizens would know.
But they're not teaching that stuff in schools anymore.
No, they're not. I mean, it's an indoctrination. So
sorry.
I wanted to bring you back in instead
Okay.
of keep squeezing you out. But anyway, I think that is actually going to do it this week for us. I think we've pretty much survived. Yeah, I got 10 minutes, but I can duck out early. That's the thing about having your own show. But we're not bound by the rules of CNN. So just take a minute, and I got my stage director over here on the side that wants me to take a second and go through the chat, see if there's anything that anybody else had in here.
Thank you for putting up the My Healthy Vet link
Yes, thank you for that.
and the crisis hotline. I think those are on.
Those are always underneath my information. I do appreciate my mods putting up my links. I'll make sure to get Belinda's email address under there, and see, in television and radio, dead air is considered a bad thing. So I'm just trying to read some of these real quick. And also, any of you that are joining me during the week, if you have subjects that you would like brought up, um, stick them in my email, put them in a chat, give me some idea of subjects. Because I'll.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh,
I am not.
Belinda?
No.
No, we're
My
just
husband's
bestest
over there,
buds,
and Alex's
yeah.
wife is right there.
Yeah, we are just great friends, and we both are familiar and experienced in what we're doing. I mean, her husband was also military. My wife just dealt with the military because of me. You know, it's hi, honey, home. I'm home. Give her a kiss. Oh, gotta go. Bye. First 3 months, my wife and I were married. I saw her less than 24 hours total. So, it's the families are also affected by military activity. I appreciate you speaking about this, Belinda. It needs to be discussed. How else can we fix the problem for our veterans? That's true, actually.
Yes.
It's a very difficult subject, especially when you have the issue. And about the only way to do it is to get into personal and private conversations with somebody else directly and see what you can figure out from there. Um, Thank you, DM. Appreciate that. Yeah, this was a lot of chit chat this week, but next week,
Yeah,
it was fine. You're doing great. Sometimes you just got to shoot the shit because that also helps get information out.
sometimes I get excited. And
Oh yeah,
I don't have the
that
facts.
happens to a lot of people that are hanging around me.
Oh no, it's not that.
No. Oh well, that's truly disappointing. All right, y'all. Until next time, I want to say thank you very much to my mods. I appreciate everybody that came to join us tonight. We'll see you all next week and have another one of these wonderful chit chats.
And this time I'll be at home.
You will be at home, but
I will have power.
We will have power. We've got the computer thing figured out.
Yep.
So I think by next week we'll be doing this remotely, and it should go well.
Yeah, because we do live 5 hours apart.
Yeah, it's a long walk. But anyway, do what? Oh, no. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. Somebody concerned about the wife thing, but no, it's so cool.
Oh, no.
All good. Love the Alex and Belinda show. Well, thank you, B. Appreciate that. All right,
sweet.
y'all. Until next time, make sure y'all stay in the fight.